Alrighty, we are live for our call today. Looks like we got a couple folks in here. Let me go to the chat. Always feel free to drop questions in the chat, either live or afterwards. That's cool too. Awesome. All right, and then Alex should be showing up here. We had a little change of schedule today. My daughter had her 4-month checkup, so she's a whopping almost 12 pounds. Very exciting. All right, let's go to the chat. Boom. Perfect. Live stream chat. Anka's here, awesome. Oh, thoughts on stretching after practice. Could it cause more damage or good for recovery? Love it. Okay, so I like stretching after practice. It's a good time to do it. A lot of people really like static stretching, so kind of holding a stretch, not moving through it. That can be potentially problematic pre-practice. Sometimes stretching, particularly areas that are not feeling great, can lead to aggravation. It also leads to short-term reduction in power output and strength, which that's not a huge deal, but it's more about how you spend your time. So I really like active type stretching and mobility stuff before practice, and then you can do the passive after. Now, I really like the active stuff before and after. So teams that I've been a part of or that I've run cooldowns for, a lot of what we do is some of the cars, so a lot of different types of joint rotations for the shoulders, the hips, and then even some active stretching that might feel fatiguing. But what that does is it gets the blood flowing more, it moves the fluid around, it can really help with recovery and your feelings of soreness. While we're here, I'll just show you a couple examples, a couple that I really like. So, it's just like easy hip cars, rotating the hips, nice big rotation like that. Doing some like a pigeon stretch, but rather than just holding it, so we'll hold it and then make it a little more active. So you're kind of using your hip to push you up. You're getting a nice active stretch. And then you can use the hands to help as well. All right, so it doesn't have to be super intense. I like adding a little active work for the knee and the hamstring as well. So this is a really nice little flow that you can do after. And again, after you play or after practice or a tournament, you might not want to do this, but it absolutely helps. You might feel like, oh, I'm doing extra stuff. Shouldn't I be resting? But that is going to help you feel better and recover better for the next day or the next practice. So yeah, great question. This is something I'm passionate about because kind of like with warm-ups, so a lot of people, when they warm up, they want to conserve energy for whatever they're going to be doing, and they don't put a massive amount of time or thought into it, and then they don't get as much out of what they're doing, or they're more likely to be injured. Similarly with cooldowns, it's another one of these things where people like either rush through it, don't do it at all, and I think Kins is hopping on here. So I was saying with the cooldowns, people, what up? There he is. Oh, for some reason I can't hear you. I don't know where he just went. Whoops. I can't hear you. Can anyone else hear? No? Oh, I think he's trying to hop back on. So to continue that thought real quick, so a lot of people, they think by not doing a cool down, they're conserving energy, or like, I'm already tired, why would I do more? But it's really about helping yourself feel better in the future and adding an extra 5 to 10 minutes of some low to moderate intensity movement is not going to be that much compared to 1, 2, 3 hours of practice or play. So it's a little bit you can add on that over time really adds up. And I had the experience with this working with and playing with masters teams where a lot of the people are older, they're sore, they're stiff, they have joint pain, they have all this stuff, and I made the team do cooldowns every single time after some of our games and then always at the end of the day. And I got a lot of feedback that people just felt much better than they were expecting to feel, much better than they usually feel. And this wasn't a massive cooldown, literally like 5 to 10 minutes, if that. But we're moving the body more and super helpful. Ooh, so do I like the couch stretch? No matter how much I do it, it always seems to be tight. Look at that. Boom. So I do like the couch stretch, but I think we can do some things to individualize it. The thing about stretching and a lot of exercises is that a lot of times we try to like fit our body to make it look like how we think it should look, rather than just doing what is best for our body. So let me show you here. So couch stretch, for those who don't know, typically you have your leg up on a couch or a bench or some elevated surface. So what we'll do is we'll go here, right? Boom, like that. Now this is a lot of hip extension, it's a lot of knee flexion. It can be really tight for people. So what I recommend is start forward like this. And if you don't feel a huge stretch, you can tuck your pelvis. So watch what I do here. I'm gonna tuck like that, then I can start working my way back. So start forward first. Work your way back until you find a spot that feels decent. I also recommend holding on to things so that you can be really stable. The more stable you're able to be, the more you're gonna be able to let these tissues relax. Because if it's super tight and uncomfortable, you're not gonna stay there for very long. And if you're not there for more than like a minute, at least a few times a day, then you're probably not gonna get a lot out of it. Now, real quick, some of you know, some of you don't, adding an isometric will help build strength and improve mobility here. So if I want to make this less tight and feel better, make my knee and quad and hip flexor feel better, what I'm going to do is hold here, then I'm going to push down with this foot, push hard into whatever this barrier is, hold for 10 to 15 seconds, then relax. I might even be able to get further after that. Okay, so you don't want it to be painful. Find an angle that works for you. Get plenty of padding under the knee. Add some isometrics. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't know. There we go. I think Kins is coming in now.
Oh, yeah.
Yay, there we go. Welcome. Oh, did I not hear you now? I don't know what is going on. I don't know. No. Yeah, I heard him for a moment.
What about now?
Yeah.
Okay. It's like loading up and stuff. It's weird.
Something weird going on.
How are we doing? I saw you get into some demonstrations.
Yeah, you know how I like to do, but yeah, we got some great questions about cooldowns. And yeah, so Anka just said, should you cool down after every game if you have 2 to 3 games a day that all last 70 minutes? Probably not. So that's a great question. I would say like one of the best things, especially if you don't have like a long bye or a lot of time in between, just like keep yourself moving, not like running around, but just like if you're exhausted, yeah, lay down, rest. But I recommend being on your feet, moving around, just to keep the blood flowing, because while you might not feel like you want to do that, it's really helpful for not tightening up again. Like if I have 15 minutes between games and I'm like pretty warm, I'm probably just going to keep moving a little bit, and then I don't have to really even warm up for the next game. So I would wait till the end, or if you have a bigger gap maybe, then do some like, you can throw in some cars and stuff like for your priority areas.
Yeah, those are always hard. Like just like buys, figuring out how to re-warm up. Once you get going and then you fully stop, like it's really hard to get going again.
It's rough. Yeah, I'd usually rather have like, I guess a long buy than like kind of a short.
Yeah.
If it's an hour, or even, if you end the game early and it's like you have 45 minutes, that's an awkward, or like you could sometimes, I've done that sometimes, and I just like play around for like 40 minutes and
yeah, I'm burning a lot of energy, but warm for the next one.
But you like stay going. Yeah, because once you
Yeah,
go up and down, and that's even like I've been thinking about that at practices. Once I get going, I just want to keep going for the most
yeah,
part. Like obviously, if it's a full day, yeah, I think like a bye, like a full rest and whatever, that can work. But like for something like a
absolutely.
practice, you just want to keep ripping.
Right,
Once all
for
the
sure.
adrenaline and everything gets going, just keep it going.
I agree. I agree. Oh, so another good question. Oh, do you like foam rolling? It does very little for me. I need a really hard PVC pipe. Do you think that's a good idea? So, foam rolling is something that like I that's a passive modality. So like it can make you feel better in the moment. It can potentially reduce some tension longer term, but usually like I've done this, I've had other people do this, foam rolling, even like what happens is you develop tolerance to the pressure and so that it feels less painful or like it's less productive. So then you use harder and harder implements, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's like really helping you because I've had people do this for years. I've done it in the past, spent a lot of time doing it, and it was like, I'm not more mobile, I'm not stronger, my body doesn't feel better. If it feels good, I like it for a little bit of recovery for blood flow. But other than that, I'd rather you do some active stuff, cars, isometrics, stuff that's going to move the needle so that like you train hard for a year on the mobility stuff and you're going to need less warm up. Like I don't need to foam roll to feel halfway decent like I did when I was 8 years ago because instead of foam rolling, I did the other stuff to get my body feeling better. So that's a great question.
I never foam roll, but it's not like because I'm against it. I just don't do it.
Yeah.
I'm anti foam rolling.
Yeah, that's good. So Charles Poliquin calls foam rolling trying to build a bridge with pebbles. I guess he was right. And like, there's an application for things, and if you have all the time in the world, like professional athletes, they do all kinds of passive stuff. They get massages, they do release work, whatever, because they can. If for people who are like skipping their warm ups because of time, don't spend 5, 10, 15 minutes foam rolling because you can be doing a lot better things.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
You can keep
How's
the
your week?
questions rolling, but
You had a good baby appointment?
yeah, yeah, 4 months. She's 24 inches long, 12, almost 12 pounds. So she's getting ultimate ready.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, all good, man. Yep. How about you? How's your week? I know you mentioned the calves and Achilles a little bit.
Just because I'd been running a bunch. No, they feel good. I had a good week. I was trying to figure out what I did on Wednesday. I can't remember if I don't write it down. It's so fucking hard. I was going to look back at like some different. Like I was gonna see what I like was texting people on Wednesday, so I could so I could remember. I can't remember though, but I don't think I did anything. I think it was my rest day, but I had an active week.
Nice.
The rest of the week, yeah, yeah. When I guess so. Monday we talked, and I went out and did because I know we had talked about like doing those tempos. So
Yeah.
I did 15 full field tempos, and the rest was just like the walk back. So I did 2 to warm up. So I did 17 total, but the first 2 were just like slow, like jogs,
Yeah.
whatever. And then I would walk back. It was like a full, probably like 100 something yard. It was like a full field. It was long.
Nice.
Yeah. So I did 15 of those. Tuesday was I've been loving basketball. Just going to the rec and playing basketball, just because it's like fun and it's a good workout. And then since I'm at the rec, I did a heavy lift after that. So like I like having the like trap bars and stuff there. So I'll do like the heavier
Smart.
lifts after that.
Yeah.
Wednesday rest. Thursday we had mini, so we played a bunch of mini for hours. That was really fun and was a really good exercise. That was in Denver with the Denver pod. We
Oh,
played
cool.
we played a bunch of like fours, and that was a good workout. Friday went back, played more basketball,
Okay.
and did
Yeah.
a more chill lift. Like I just did 4 sets of 15 goblet squats and 15 push-ups.
Nice.
So just to like
I like
finish
it.
off the basketball with that. And then yesterday I was just like, I didn't even really have a plan to do anything yesterday. And then I was like, fuck it. I'm going to go to the rec. And I just did like a bunch of random shit. I love the trap bar just because I don't even have it at the like home gym. So I love using it when I'm there. So I did like the trap bar and like the, just different like bench press and push-ups and just like a full workout, like a full body workout basically, like Bulgarians, just because I was like bored, really.
Hey, I like it, man.
So I had a full week of doing shit.
Dude, that's solid.
The only thing is I didn't get any mobility in.
Okay. I mean, that's the nice part again about like being as consistent as you've been for as long as you have been.
Yeah.
You miss a week of mobility and it's not a huge deal. Like I imagine you probably did a little bit of warming up when you're at the field, so you're getting some stuff in there. For some reason I can't hear you suddenly. This is I don't know what is going on with this. Huh. Riverside.
What about now though?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? It like refreshes and then it can hear me.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, so like definitely, not doing a ton of mobility in a week, not a big deal, as long as it's not like a trend because you've gotten yourself to a really high baseline.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's nice. So I feel like I've because I had put in a lot of the time in mobility, and I do like doing it, and I want to keep doing it. And kind of like we said, I think I want to work it in more to my workouts and just start implementing like different mobility workouts in my workouts to just do it then, and then keeping doing like the cars and stuff. Yeah.
I think that's a good call. Yeah, I think like, I've gotten a lot of questions from people about how do I prioritize? Like I feel like I could work on everything. And part of it's like if you're consistent enough with your priorities, then like you have fewer priorities eventually. So now it's like you can kind of work in wherever you need it, and it's just like icing on top rather than a necessity.
Yeah, and I mean I still think there's a lot like with that like tendon stuff. Like I do want to the Achilles tendon stuff. I do want to implement something like that more routinely because I do just notice if I have like 3 days of running in a row, like that's what gets sore is like my Achilles and my Achilles tendons, like if I'm gonna get tendonitis, I get it there first from like a lot of load. Which part of it is like okay, it's just like a lot of load, but the other part of it is like, I can figure out some stuff. I'm not for that for sure.
Yeah, so that's something I actually talked about that meeting with some of the Bravo guys on last Wednesday. We talked a lot about isometrics, and like I saw a good podcast that just reinforces the stuff I already do, but they talk about how isometrics train not just the strong part but the weak part of the tendon. That if we're doing regular strength training or running or like the quicker contractions, we're basically only loading the strong parts, and until you fatigue those, the weaker parts of the tendon don't get loaded, and when tendons don't get loaded, they develop scar tissue and they get weaker. So just doing what you could do for the Achilles, for example, like bent knee, straight knee isometrics.
Yeah.
And I would hit like, doesn't have to be daily, but if you wanted to like really shore them up, maybe 3 to 4 sets of like 20 seconds isometric. Doesn't have to be max effort, like 50-60%.
Isometrics like in the soleus, like that stuff.
Yeah, so like what I would do, and like this is what I prioritize too. So I'll go up to a wall.
Yeah.
And I'll get a stretch here.
Right, and then push
So,
into it.
So like not max effort, but just like push, hold for 20, 20 to 30 seconds. You can go 20, and I'll alternate legs and do like 3 or 4 sets. Sometimes I'll just do 2 sets, and then I'll do 2 sets later in the day. But what I do is like I do it at night, so that no matter what I did during the night, I do at least 2 sets before bed. And then if I did more during the day, cool, then I get more. But that way I have a baseline.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think I will just start doing that and like adding it into my workouts as well, even if it's just like part of the warm-up and stuff, just so I get doing it every day. because I like when like the stuff. It's a part of the warm up. Like I might even maybe I'll just add it to my warm up for like the field stuff if I can. That way, like I'm just doing it because like with that stuff I do it every day. So, or most.
Because you
days
don't have to
I
think
do it a
about
lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just built in.
The other thing I missed is I want to get back to that hill because the hill was just so electric. It felt so good. I just want to get back.
Oh,
It was so good.
the hills are great. There's one by my house that it winds a little bit. It's super steep, but like there's cars on it. So every now and then I'll do it. And if it's not like a busy time of day, but I'm like, I probably shouldn't be sprinting up this hill because like cars at the top can't see me until they turn. So.
Right. You're like sprinting into potential accident.
Yeah, just stay real close to the curb. But yeah, man, finding a good hill that's accessible, it's a great find.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, man.
Let's see. Ank's asking, what do you all do when you're feeling unfocused on the field during practice to reset your mental change, your perspective?
Good question. You have any?
That's a tough one, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So for like personally, some form of play, like say it's a break in practice or something, I do my like flip the disc, turn around, try to catch it, like something to just like do something where you're not thinking is helpful. And because if you like sometimes when we feel unfocused or aren't feeling great, to change our perspective, like we're thinking too much sometimes. So like do something reflexive and reactive that you just don't have to think, you're just doing something.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I talked about, like when I put my headphones in, it locks me in. It's tough. Like, I don't really know. It really just depends on each person and also like what you want, and it's so complex. But like, I do feel like the first thing would just be like noticing it. Like if you like notice that because a lot of the time you're distracted, but you're distracted, so you don't fucking know. But like if you get to the point where you realize you're distracted, then you've kind of already won. And then I would probably go somewhere by yourself and just like take a couple deep breaths, or just like, literally what you're saying. Like I think if you're able to notice that you've gotten distracted, just start doing a couple things by yourself and like reset on your intentions and what you want out of it, which is, going to be dependent on who you are. But yeah,
and I think like Alex said, noticing it's huge, and then just like not judging yourself about it, because if you're like start getting mad or upset with yourself that you're not focused, you're going to be less focused, and it can spiral. So if you go, all right, like I was unfocused, now's an opportunity to just do something that helps me. And you can do that in practice by yourself too, or training, like on the field. You might notice things that help you. Like say you're out on the field by yourself. What helps you get focused or get motivated or fired up? And then you can bring that to practice or tournaments. Another thing could be like a little bit of caffeine, a little bit of sugar.
For sure.
Sometimes it could be a fueling thing. Because if
Definitely.
I've been, I know Anka, I think you're relatively young. When I was working with some high school and college athletes, like a lot of people just don't know stuff, and you very well might. But like I remember talking to athletes who like they got lightheaded or feeling terrible at practice. I'm like, how much water did you have today? And they'd be like, oh, I didn't drink any water today. And it's like 7 p.m. Or like I haven't had anything to eat since 6 a.m. So not saying you're doing this, but even if you've been
You're
eating,
doing it.
there you go. Sometimes we need the good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
So
Get your
but
shit
like
together.
having
Lock
like
in.
sugar, there we go. Having easy sugar, like banana, raisins, something, even again, a little bit of caffeine can help just to, it could just be a fueling issue.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
For sure. Good cardio methods that don't add
Ooh.
load to the body. Well, I really liked the, this one's a little bit more load than some things, but I really loved the tempos that we were talking about. No change of direction. I wasn't going 100%, but I was going like 90%. Like I was going, like, I mean, for me, it's mostly like the start, and then you're just like maintaining that throughout the thing. But like if I put a lot of effort into the initial part, then I'm just like keeping that momentum going. But so like
Right.
running pretty fast, no change of direction. You give yourself time to decelerate. Then you walk back, and I do a bunch of those with like minimal enough rest, and like felt like no load on the body really. Like I mean, there's obviously some. So, and then the other ones I feel like that come to mind are like biking and swimming because those are just like.
Those are great. Yeah, that's a great call. So like we talked about that, I actually did that this week. Saturday I went out, did some tempos. But yeah, reducing the deceleration factor. And so you also asked, should you do cardio in a season if it's a weakness? I would say yes. If you are already, so like a lot of people, by the time spring and summer rolls around, they're playing maybe club, they're playing summer league, they're practicing a couple times a week, maybe they're doing tournaments. So if you're playing several times a week with high intensity, you probably don't need to do exhaustive conditioning. But you can add supplemental cardio to help with recovery and just to like keep a solid aerobic base, because if our cardiovascular system isn't super efficient and we just do high intensity stuff, we're going to burn out quickly. So we need to build that. So doing like bike is great. I actually I need to get back into it, but years ago I did cycling, and I found a trail where I could go moderate intensity for like 2 hours, and it helped me so much with recovery. So tempos at like somewhere between 70 to like 90% intensity is great. So you're just like smooth, taking some rest. Assault bike is great. What I actually really like about the assault bike is
that
like,
the fan one?
Yeah, and the arms.
Yeah.
You can go really hard with that. What I like is go 30 seconds just arms, then 30 seconds just legs, and then 30 seconds both arms and legs. Mentally, it changes it up. Before you know it, it's been like 10, 15 minutes. And most people use the assault bike for sprints, so they hate it. But you can use it for like medium intensity cardio. And yes, it shouldn't cause much muscle damage. Like, it's not impactful. You're not accelerating or decelerating. You're just moving your legs like this. So it's good for recovery. Good for if you do want to get some intense cardio without the like pounding. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's actually I train Tuesday, Thursday, intense open training. Any advice on how I can be ready for Thursday training better? Sleep well if you can. We talked about the cooldowns. That Tuesday cooldown training is going to help you on Thursday for sure. Yeah, some of it's just also practicing like what works for you. Everyone is a little bit different.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that's the most important thing. But it just takes time. You just got to jump in and figure it out, you know?
Yeah. But again, yeah.
Yeah. Like you'll learn each week you go, like based on how you're feeling and what you need to do.
Right. And I talked about this last week, I think, or about lag. Maybe not with us, but like there's going to be a lag in what you're doing and how it's affecting your body. So like it might work for a couple weeks and then suddenly you start to feel like crap on Thursdays. And if that's the case, then okay, I need to adjust something that I'm doing. I think that is important. Definitely. And then there was another the wall push. So you had a question about the wall push. I think is that for like the Achilles? Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Achilles, yeah, you can do that both. So boom, you can go straight leg. So I might push and resist. And my goal is like, I'm trying to do this. So sometimes if you have trouble feeling this engage, like we want to feel tension here. So if you have trouble feeling it engage, I'd recommend starting to do it and then push and hold. And then eventually you can fully get that full range. You could even have your heel off the ground and get real low with it. The reason we do I do more with the bent is because that engages the Achilles a little more and the soleus. And the soleus is a muscle that takes on some of the most force of anywhere in our body with a lot of the running.
I feel like I'm a calf dominant runner.
Yeah,
I think so. I don't know. That's what's getting sore.
like up higher in the calf.
No, it's kind of like no. I almost feel like it's lower, like where I get like, but it's like the tendon, you know. So that's why it's not. It's not really my calf, I guess. It's really more the like tendon. Like my tendons just get like tender. I have tender tendons after I run a bunch.
Yeah. Well, okay, so yeah, so we were talking about this. Alex had he was mentioning that like calves, Achilles kind of get tender and sore and like tired more. So we can roll through. This is basically what I would do, particularly in season or like you're essentially like in season, like you're not playing tournaments right now, but I mean, you're very active and you're training. You have a high volume of like impact activity.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason I wouldn't do like right now a lot of heavy calf raises is because your calves and Achilles, like they're already getting a lot of that.
Yeah. I'm just trying to get that. You're just saying like that blood flow and then the isometrics.
Exactly, because if we add like regular lifting type stuff with like challenging, that's going to break down the tissue, both the muscle and the tendon. It's going to add inflammation,
Right.
and we kind of want to do the opposite. So, yeah, what I sent you in a video is doing isometrics. Here, straight leg. You could also like wedge your foot in something like this, and do it here, and that's a real intense stretch. But then doing, like easy calf raises where you're just going through the full range of motion.
Mm-hmm. And not going like too fatigued. Yeah.
You get the blood flowing. So
like 10 or something. Yeah. Do you go slow or fast? You think it matters? Mix it up?
You can do both. I would mix it up a little bit. Yeah. You could do some fast ones, especially like in warm-ups, get everything fired. I definitely find that like for me with the knee, Achilles, that type of stuff where I have some tendon stuff going on, if it's not primed really well, I'm more likely to get sore there. So it's like I could do the exact same workout, but if I was just like not quite warmed up well, it wasn't ready to like be moving fast, I could end up with some issues.
Yeah. Anything that makes ultimate special / different regarding mobility. My main focus tends to be foot, ankles, and hips. And that's good, but you probably got to get those arms going. I mean, I don't know how much you're throwing, but probably. I love like the shoulder. I think the shoulder, elbow, and wrist cars, which it's just like the same thing, but for the upper, like it's the foot, ankle.
Exactly.
But it's just the upper arm. Yeah, it's all the same shit.
Elbows. I mean,
that was
like
a real eye opener for me.
It's amazing. Like people just don't explore. They're like, oh yeah, my shoulders are fine because like I throw, I do this stuff. But yeah. So one of the things that makes Ultimate a little bit different is just the volume. Like that's why it's such a big priority for people. Like there's such a volume of high impact playing that you can't get away with just lifting for very long because your tendons and joints are going to run into trouble. They just can't handle the volume. And that's what happens is like this guy Keith Barr talks about the tendon where it's like if you are playing and you have a messed up tendon, the strong part of your tendon is getting loaded, and once you fatigue too much, now you're running and sprinting and jumping, and the weakest part is getting loaded. So isometrics and cars, this is the stuff that's going to load the weak part in a controlled environment, so it gets strengthened.
Yes.
So when we fatigue, inevitably, we now are more prepared.
Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking, because when I was texting you about, like, my Achilles tendons being tight, I was like, is it because I'm using them too much, or is it because they're the weak parts? And I feel like it might honestly be like what you're saying, where, like, I'm using them a lot, and then, because it's, like, I guess primarily, like, the strongest point, or, like, the part that I'm using the most when I'm, like, running and jumping, and, like, it's like, do I need to strengthen other things to help this, problem, or do I need to strengthen that area? Which is kind of like, I feel like whenever I've done PT, it's always the other areas. It's like, whenever I have like pain somewhere, it's really not that area that is the area that needs to be worked on, in the sense that that's like where you're doing the exercises. Like a lot of the times I found that it's like the surrounding things that I've had to work on to like support that area,
It sometimes is like, yeah, it's sometimes like your hip doesn't move well and it puts more stress. I like to kind of address everything. That's why, like,
Right,
you
because
start
you
off
don't
with
really fucking
assessments.
know. Like, it's so
That's the
hard.
thing. Like, people can tell you, like, oh, like this hurts. Like, it must be that this other hip. It's like you don't know that. You're just generalizing.
You're just an asshole.
Yeah, man. But that's why, yeah, like if you do the cars for the full body, you're gonna notice some things. And what I have people do usually is like pick out what stuff seems most limited, and then that's what you focus on for now. But definitely, like when in doubt, focusing a lot on the Achilles is a great idea. It's the biggest tendon in the body, takes on a massive amount of stretch. Yeah. Talked about rotation being important for knee over toe ability. Oh, look at this. Let's do can I show on stream? Love it.
Look at you.
Talked about rotation of the ankle being important for knee over toe ability. It definitely helped, but still can't go very knee over toe. Best thing for improvements. Anka does the knee peel rolls that I could show. Yeah, so one of the things, that's one of the challenges that like just we aren't taught this stuff, unfortunately, but like you want your ankle to rotate well, right? You do cars, rotations. When you do that, it's going to give you more potential to dorsiflex, right? To do this. But then we have to spend time training that as well. So what Anka was saying, the roll and peel, which I really like for warm-ups and some of the training, where you're going here and then you focus on using your shin to peel the foot. So we're actively doing this. If you really want to make gains here, isometrics are the way to go. So you can put your foot on a box, wherever, but you want to close this angle, stretch it for 1 to 2 minutes, then push down, kind of like we do with the wall. Like I'm pushing as if I'm trying to do this, but I'm not going to let myself move. So I'm pushing down as hard as I can for 15 seconds, using my shin muscles to pull deeper into the stretch.
After you.
After.
Yeah.
So these are called pale and rail contractions. We don't need to get into that. Basically a push and a pull. So you hold the stretch for 1 to 2 minutes, push as hard as you can for 15, pull as hard as you can for 15.
Let me tell you, those pale rails, man. Holy.
It is no joke, but like range of motion does not come easily. We got to earn it. But seriously,
you got to cramp.
It's gonna, yeah.
You got to cramp. You're not just getting that range of motion without some cramping going on.
It's true. It's so true. Like you really got to work for it, and that's the thing that like in the fitness industry and social media, and there's all this stuff about like this one thing will fix this, and you got to put in time and energy. You want to get a big meaty quads, like you got to do some heavy leg exercises. If you want more range of motion in your ankle, it's the same deal. You have to strength train it for sure. So yeah, you're welcome. These are great questions. Let me
Yeah, we got some active people in the chat. I fuck with this.
I love it. I like that, people are open-minded. They want to know.
For sure.
I'm just I'm going to get a video for you here.
Oh, you're going to throw the video in. Nice.
I'm going to throw a video in. I got a whole follow-along video. Now I got to find the... Boom. So that'll take you through like the whole process. Because this stuff, man, it's great. Like my left ankle didn't dorsiflex as well, but when I first started learning this stuff like 9-ish years ago, and I spent like 4 months just cranking the crap out of it. Like every day I did those. And I probably shouldn't have done it every day, but I was just real gung-ho about it. And like I gained a few extra like degrees of dorsiflexion, and it's life-changing. Like, yeah, it's cool stuff.
Yeah, it definitely unlocks a lot of different positions for you.
Yeah.
Definitely. One thing I forgot to mention, every workout that I do, I either start or finish with 10 minutes on the bike.
Ooh, I like that.
Just chill. Like nothing like it very rarely like gets to a point where I'm like working super hard. But ever since I had that like knee stuff with the cartilage, I've just found like I have to do that. Otherwise, I will feel like that spot where my cartilage, I guess, is a little weaker, torn or whatever. Like I'll feel it when I'm playing and walking around. When I bike routinely most days, it does wonders for the joints, especially my knee.
That's awesome. And like if you think about on a monthly basis how much extra like just like low to moderate cardio you're getting, that's huge. And that's like, you found what works, you do it. And a lot of people are like, I'm not going to take an extra 10 minutes or like extra 20 minutes. Like,
Totally.
But if
it's just a habit now at this point. And you learn how much, you realize how helpful it is. So you're like, you just like can't not do it. You're just like not going to allow yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, me too, Anka. I'm a big biker, especially here in Boulder. It's got to be one of the best biking towns in the U.S. I just love. It's it's getting warmer out. Like, I could bike when it's really cold to work and stuff. I don't want to. I'd rather just take the bus, honestly. Like the gloves, and then I have to change. Like I have to bring all this. Like I've done it before. It's not worth it for me. When it's so freezing, goddamn cold, and I need gloves and a hat and all this shit, and then like, I'd rather just put my work clothes on. But in the summer, when it's just when it's a little bit warmer, that's the best.
It's a good call. It is a great way. And so yeah, Anka, like that's awesome. 20 minutes to the Fields gym. Like you've got some built in, some of your warm up, some of that
Dude,
cardio.
it's the best. You don't even have to warm up. If like I'm like a psycho where I'm like when I'm biking a place, I'm like trying super hard for no reason. Like for absolutely no reason. So like I'm showing up like full sweat, like I'm ready to go.
I love it. I mean,
yeah.
Honestly, like, who was asking? I forget who. Actually, I think it was Quinn was asking this week about like warm ups and, for the hamstrings, just like making sure when you have multiple days and you're showing up sore. I was like, honestly, if you just add an extra 5 to 10 minutes of movement, like, I'm not even going to specify. It's like,
yeah.
So that's why the biking's so helpful because yes, the stuff we're doing is helpful to specifically prepare your body, but at some point it's like, you also just need your body to be warm enough and like the blood flowing, everything going so that it's ready.
Yeah. I agree.
For sure. Oh, wall sits. Woo.
I was thinking about doing wall sits the other day and I didn't. I did leg pulses. I did the pulses instead.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love those.
Because I just wanted to like finish out my workout. Like I was like,
That's a good, I mean, I would go pulses over wall sits. So this is a good question. Let's do this. Ooh. You like wall sits? Sometimes my knee collapses and I think it's quad weakness because my right quad struggles on leg extensions. So.
Pod P Go. Oh, that's the full name. That's
love it.
I didn't see that. I could just see Pod. That's
for the leg extensions, that's something like you can isolate that pretty well. I would actually do isometrics there. Like, it doesn't have to be a ton of weight, but you're sitting, right? I'm assuming. Leg extension, like if you have a leg extension machine, go one leg and go with heavy weight and just push here, more weight than you can move, and just push into it for 15, 20 seconds. Fully extend, so you could go like extend, hold here for 15 to 20 seconds. Again, not a ton of weight. I don't want it to be like, I want it to burn, but not be like hard on your knee. Wall sits are nice, but like, I think they're inefficient for what they do. So like, it's not necessarily
I
bad.
see what you're saying, because you're not like actively pushing into the ground. Like,
right.
You got to do it for a while, and then you've got to be able to hold when you're at that point. I mean, you can like add weight to it, I guess, but then that's like hard to get into that position where if you're adding like enough weight.
Right. So those quad extensions are isometrics, great. And then I would do, especially if there's an asymmetry in your strength, I would do pulse squats, single leg. So like kickstand, only a tiny bit of weight in this foot, right? You got most of your weight in this one. You don't have to hold a weight, but you can. And then what I do, drive the hips and knee forward. You want to put all that weight, all that tension into this quad. And you just come to like the hardest part and you just pulse. No sense of urgency. Your goal is to just destroy that quad. And that is what's going to make it grow and make it stronger. And great benefit is like you're going to be so much more comfortable low.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so those pulse squats.
Yeah, I was kind of being a big baby about it into the 2-legged pull squats, even though I knew I should do the 1-legged, but I'd already done a bunch, and I was like, I'll go.
Yeah.
I'll do 2 legs with some weight. No, it's terrible. Thinking about it now, I know.
It would work, but I definitely, when in doubt, I like to spend more time single leg or split leg, just because like your body is naturally going to try to like gravitate where it feels stronger.
100%. I was being a coward. I knew it deep down. I just didn't want to. I had done like
some of it is like efficiency. If you're short on time, sometimes I'm like, okay, but another, it is mentally hard. Like if I did a set.
It was the 100% the mental part. I just didn't want to do the fucking.
Which is like that's okay, you know.
No, it's not okay.
It's okay. All right. So this week, single leg pulse squats. I'm writing it down.
I'll write it down too. I'm gonna do single leg. They really stand out to me.
If anyone's watching, yeah, let's get those pulse squats in. So I did them last week. It's mentally hard too because I was able to get. I didn't have a timer set. It's basically I go until I'm just about to collapse on that leg. Stay safe. Like I don't want you. But I've been doing it for a while, so I have a good sense of that. And I checked the time, and it was like 38 seconds. And I'm like, it's brutal. And I'm like, oh, crap, now I got to do the other leg. So
yeah.
It is tough because you have twice as many.
100%.
But keep treating each leg like separate. Oh. Yeah. And that was also that night. My daughter went through the sleep regression where she would only go to sleep if I was squatting her.
That's crazy.
And it had to be, and like my wife is coming back from a back injury, and like it had to be deep and fast, or she would cry. And I would stop for 1 second, and she'd cry. So like I did like 10 minutes straight of squats with the 12-pound baby, and like
That's
5
crazy.
hours earlier, I was doing my freaking pulse squats to failure, and my legs were about to give out, and I stopped, and she was like almost asleep, started crying, and I was like, I got to put you down, and like I can't do another set for like 5 more minutes.
That's absurd. That sounds crazy. This is interesting. I don't know who Will Rittell is, but he thinks dynamic warm-ups aren't great for
interesting
build up in sprints. Not for Frisbee practice, but for a sprint workout.
I see.
I got there like a little later when I wanted to do the tempo runs. Like some of the people were already there, so instead of doing a full warm-up, I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna run 2. As like I did one at like 50%, I did one at like 70%, and then I was just off. And honestly, I was like, that's all I needed. I didn't need to do anything else before that,
Yeah.
Especially because I was just doing the straight line tempos. Like I wasn't doing anything else. We tossed after, but
Right. I think it depends how you feel. Like one thing that is a pet peeve of mine is that a lot of people adapt sprint training to ultimate training. And so like in Alex's case, he was feeling pretty ready. He wasn't sore. He does so much activity and mobility work and other work so that he's more prepared when he shows up to the field than a lot of people. I think dynamic warm-ups are important because they get you moving in all different directions, which you need regularly. And we're not training just to be sprinters. So like if a sprinter, even if we are, I think it's dumb to be against dynamic warm-ups. Like,
yeah.
It really is. If you look at sprinters, like they do, elite level sprinters do like pretty thorough warm-ups, because you're not going to be moving at absolute maximum speed unless your body is ready. So like for tempos, I agree. There's times where I'm short on time, I'm getting my mobility work in, I feel great. If I'm doing tempos, I'm never at max effort. So I can just build up a few warm-ups,
right.
Make sure my feet and ankles and knees are feeling good. If I don't feel awesome, then I'll stop and warm up more.
Yeah, for sure.
But you earn yourself the right and the ability to have days where you don't warm up as thoroughly by doing a lot of regular mobility work and warm-ups.
Sure.
Yeah, there's definitely, and I think that's helpful too. Like the mobility grind where you're like doing all kinds of stuff and working really hard to build up that health. It doesn't need to be like that all the time. Just like if you want to be really strong and muscular, like you might spend 5 years in the gym, cranking it out because that's your goal. And then you don't need to work that hard just to maintain it. Yeah.
Yeah, go fuck them up.
Oh yeah.
Go fuck them up,
I love it. Let's just show that on the stream. Some really need their ego destroyed. I love it.
Unless it's mine. Then it's not fun. Then it's so not fun.
Yeah, I hope
Probably is fun for other people.
Sunday's first outdoor competition. Hey, it's
That's
fun.
lit.
Yeah, I'm
Me
excited.
too, kinda. I think we have there's some summit stuff going on.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I was thinking the last thing we could do, I'm gonna write down my goal, my plan for the week.
I like it.
Keeping in mind that I have, Keeping in mind that I have should be a longer day on Sunday, but nothing on Saturday. I think we're just doing like culture stuff on Saturday. So
Okay.
But I think today I'm gonna just chill because I have a lot of conversations going on today, and I went pretty hard. So I think today would be a good recovery day. I do want to get one more. I'm just gonna go to I'm going to the hill tomorrow. I don't give a fuck. So
Yeah.
I have to, because I want to run, and it'll be like I want to do conditioning.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna do I want to do it where I do the broad jumps and stuff, and like my I never took a video of that because I've been really fucking with them. I'll take a video.
Nice.
The like lateral cuts up the hill. I think I'll start with those as more of like a power thing, and then I'll just run up the hill at the end to like do conditioning.
I like that. Yeah, get some power in while you're a little more fresh.
Yeah.
And then just crank out some exhausting hills at the end.
Just run up and just until I'm tired, because I like being tired. And I love making myself really tired, because then when I'm playing people and I'm really tired, but I know that I felt that feeling before, but I had like another rep, so I just like did it. Oh, it feels so fucking good. I love it.
It's a great feeling, and I don't know if I've shared this with you before, but like I practice, my LLC, my business is called Smiles Take You Miles, and so like I love to smile, and on the field I've done this before where I'm like, it's a long point, it's hot out, I know the person covering me is gassed, and I'm just sitting there smiling. It's not that I'm not tired, but like I know I have more in the tank.
Yeah.
I know I felt this before, like this, last Thursday conditioning is way worse than this. I got this. And you smile, and it just demoralizes. Like, if you're exhausted and you turn and look at your opponent and they're just like smiling, man, it's fun.
Yeah, that's fucked up. That's fucked up.
It is a little bit, but I really do think it helps, like, mentally. So you can even practice that in your training.
Right.
I really like finding that point, and like people get real scientific about it. You don't have to, but that point where your legs start to feel that like little jello-y, but you can still push through it. So you're, that the end of your last rep, you're feeling that, but you can still perform. I think a lot of people let themselves, reduce the rest too much or go a little too intensely. So they end up just like they're going through mud for half of their reps, which we don't want. But if you can hit that edge and have to push through it for like that last 10, 20, 30 yards, whatever it is, it's a good place to be.
Fuck yeah. I was just reading the chat. But I'll finish up. I think what I'm going to try to do, Tuesday, I'm going to do the hill conditioning. Wednesday, I think we have pod. So I'll probably do some more tempos, which will just be like that light running, which I love because I feel like I just can't run enough. And then
Nice.
And then I'll do some like patterns, like some like focused like ultimate work, like throwing and stuff. And then Thursday, Friday, I just want to get like a couple lifts in with mobility stuff. So I think Thursday I'll do like the heavier lift, heavier weights, and then Friday I'll do the like I've been like in those like goblet squats, just like lighter weights, maybe like I'll do the pulse squats.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff. That'll be the goal for this week.
I like it. And another thing, what's nice about the pulse squats too is, like, I've definitely been fatigued there. I just don't get the same soreness as doing like heavy back squats. So like I always feel more ready the next day than if I were to do heavy back squats. My spine feels better, my knees feel
Right.
better. But like
But you got that work in where you wanted the work.
you got to exactly, you challenged exactly where you wanted it, and that'll stimulate muscle growth too.
I feel like I'm just always fighting the masculine urge to like be huge though. Like I just want to be huge, and then that thought is followed up by like, is it gonna help me at all on the field? Like definitely being stronger will, no doubt. And I want to be stronger and like upper body wise, but like I don't think like, because I feel like at least with being bigger, like that can come with like limited range of motion, also just like clunkier, more weight to move around. But at the same time, I just want to be a fucking unit, so it's kind of tough.
Dude, it is hard. I mean, I've been there.
It's so dumb too, but it's so real.
It's like, but I want to lift 600 pounds. Like, you have that reflexive thought of like, is this helping me? Because I think a guy in the membership was asking me. He said like, when's the the next program coming out? I'm done this one. Mobility stuff was great, but like I could have done with more strength training. And I kind of asked him about it. It's like, been training for like 10 years, 5 to 6 lifts a week. And I'm thinking like, if ultimate is your number one priority,
yeah,
you do not need to lift 5 to 6 times a week. That's excessive. Like we just went through your plan, and like in the off season when you're hitting it hard, you're going like 3 days a week.
3, maybe.
And
yeah.
because if you're doing more than that, you're getting diminishing returns. You're going to be less ready. Like, when are you going to do these?
We're runners. Like, we got to be strong, but, like, we have to move and stuff. It's more of, like, a visual thing, I just want to have, like, huge pecs and shit.
I totally. Well, and the reality is, like, you can lift for some, like, aesthetics and still keep,
Definitely.
Like, you can target some muscles here and there. Like,
Definitely.
put an extra set of bench press in. Like, that's not a big deal. But I've seen this happen with Ultimate players where, like, they shift gears. They start bulking up a little bit. It's like, if you put on 10 pounds of muscle, that's actually very hard. But if you do, 10 pounds of muscle isn't really, really efficient. You're going to get slower.
And that's why I honestly like just doing the push-ups, pull-ups, like things where it's more coordinated, moving my whole body. Like even the bench press, when I just do that kind of stuff, it doesn't feel like it's helping me as much, But like when I do the upper body stuff, that's like a longer... Not a longer, but like a full body kind of like thing. It's more of like a calisthenic or something that involves like multiple things. It's not just like an isolated muscle movement. Those feel helpful because it's like I'm getting stronger, I'm doing this stuff, but it's not like, like I'm not just doing like bicep curls, but
yeah.
But I was at the gym the other day and I finished with fucking bicep curls and tricep pull downs, and I hadn't done that in like since I first started working out like years ago.
I bet you were sore. Did you get did the arms get sore?
I didn't get too sore. I had I got a good pump though. And I just like, dude, it's so funny how it's so stupid, but it's like you get a good pump and you're like, God, I'm a fucking unit. And then you wake up, you don't have that pump and you're like, I gotta get huge. But I have the pump and I'm like, yeah.
It's and your body, like there's nothing like if you hit an isolation exercise that really targets a muscle well that you have not done for a long time, you're gonna blow. I used to leave the gym at Penn State, so when I was a student, I lived on the same floor as the volleyball team who like won a national championship, and I'd come back from the gym and they'd just be like, "What are you taking? Like, what do you take?" My muscles would double in size at the gym. 2 hours later, they're just like all the way back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anka, I think my back muscles have been kind of crazy. Yeah. Just by using them fully during sprints and bolt. Dude.
Although climbing, we were talking about that. I fucking love climbing. That's what I want my upper body workouts to be.
Yeah.
What I mean?
I mean, honestly, you get strength in all different ranges, and you're naturally doing isometrics where you're holding tension. Anka, I'd be really curious to hear too, as you continue in the program, like how your bouldering develops, because that's another sport where like you need big ranges of motion and strength in awkward spots.
Dude, I want to be a good climber. I just love the physique of how the fucking climbers look. Their forearms are just so fucking huge and veiny, vascular.
I know. I got to get mine back. But so that's another perfect example of like it's being important to be strong on the field. Like if you look at certain athletes, you look at someone who's a great climber, or you look at some other athletes who are like gymnasts, people who aren't necessarily massively jacked or like big, but they're insanely strong.
Oh my God, the climbers! I've seen those videos. Yeah,
and a lot of it is the isometric strength. Like isometrics make you stronger, but they're not as likely to put on like muscle mass.
Yeah.
And
that's the goal for me, because I don't want to have all this mass. I just want to be strong.
Totally.
But I've seen these cool videos of like this climber Magnus like doing workouts with like bodybuilders, and he's like ripping like the same like. Have you seen those? It was like him and like Larry Wheels.
In a row.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean that's the thing. You develop
I saw that video. Yeah.
Ridiculous strength and ridiculous endurance at the same time, and
I'm gonna get a membership soon. It's not good. Cool. It's tough in the season, but it's just so much fun. So I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And I have to get to the point where I'm not getting super sore from it, because my forearms get so sore, and then I'm like throwing a disc. I like my fucking like shit will like seize up. I'm like,
right, yeah. And then if you can't throw, that's not ideal.
Or like I was throwing a bunch of longer ones after climbing the day before, and I had to stop because I felt like I was like it was like tearing it. Like it wasn't anything bad, but that's what like the feeling was.
Yeah. Pod says, I actually think upper body training is important if you're a puller to prevent injuries and increase power.
I'm catching like random fucking strays in this fucking chat from people I've been like helping.
He doesn't play D. Yeah.
You know what? How do we block people?
You know what though? So it's it is absolutely true.
We're showing it on the screen. Nice.
I was waiting for you to notice that. But yeah, like shoulder mobility is huge. Like this is something I've dislocated my shoulder. I've subluxed both shoulders, torn labrums in both shoulders. And like when you hit the ground or when you throw or go overhead, like you need to have strength in big ranges of motion. And so that's where the mobility training is such a missing link, because if you're just bench pressing and just doing pull-ups, and like you're developing strength in these positions, but not in the right directions. So yeah, the training the upper body for both strength and mobility is very important. Yeah. I have a few posts on Instagram, or I have one like several posts back where I was wearing a green shirt and I was doing like wood chops with like a dumbbell. And I was going like here and doing like 7-pound dumbbell.
Right.
And the ability to produce force quickly and then decelerate it as well. Yeah. That's really helpful for like using the strength you have. Yeah.
I think that kind of training is way cooler than just doing like a fucking, even like a bench press, to be honest. Even though like bench press is cool, but it's like for us.
Yeah.
And
if your body is healthy, like and you have good mobility, then practicing throwing is going to help you develop that power. Definitely. It's just the problem is like a lot of people like they don't have the health. I mean, yeah, I didn't start like my throws didn't improve as much as they should have until like recent years, because my knee and my back and my Achilles and my shoulder hurt all the time. And like you just can't learn or practice skills that way.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Sweet.
Oh, I like the way this is evolving.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get more people in here, because it's fun just interacting with the chat. I'll put next week. We should make a post before, so I can post it on my Instagram and see if I can get some random fucking little fuckers in here.
Let's do that, and then I'll send you the links too, so you can share them. I sent out a link directly Riverside, which is where I think people are. So we'll just do that, because I posted it again. I created the meeting, and then it said like YouTube was disconnected, and I'm like,
well, the more we do it, it'll smooth itself out.
Exactly.
Like a third one or whatever. So.
Exactly.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So.
Oh, thanks, Pod Practice Goat. And Ankh. It was fun chilling.
Yeah.
Fun chilling for an hour.
Love the questions. Oh, and I'm glad you saw it from my story. I'll keep putting them up there. So, this is great. I'll share some more stuff soon on plantar fasciitis. I know you asked about that. We can get into that a little next time. But better dorsiflexion will help for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Hell yeah. I'm not responding to this slander that I'm getting in the chat. I'm just mad because you have to freaking grind on D-line. You probably can't convert any of your breaks.
Love it. Love it. And Anka, go crush some fools.
Yeah, go crush them.
Yeah, let us know how that goes. And we'll see y'all later.
Yeah, hell yeah. Good shit, Brian. I'll
Yeah.
see ya.
All right, buddy. I'll see you later.
Yep, peace.